following program is sponsored by PokerStars.com. Previously on the big game, Antonio Esfandiari took advantage of his position and raised his way to a profit.
How many times will I let you raise from the cutoff?
You're a very evil man, sir. You're an evil man.
Prahlad Friedman made speech after speech.
Can I rep the fives? I can rep that three, I think.
To keep his opponents off guard.
You gotta give the speech both ways.
Movie man Nick Cassavetes was the first to add on as the tables started to tip.
It's this side against that side, the haves and the have-nots.
And the pros tried to wake the sleeping stack of the loose cannon.
How you doing over there, Jared? Getting ready to shove it in there?
I might. Eventually.
Tonight, find out if the loose cannon finally lives up to his name, or if the pros continue to chip away at his chances on the big game.
Jared, oh Jared, I'm coming for you, brother.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Welcome to the big game from Las Vegas, Nevada, alongside Joe Stapleton. I'm Scott Huff, and tonight one lucky internet qualifier's quest continues to turn a profit in the toughest game in town. The stakes are huge with nearly $750,000 in play.
Amateur rapper Prahlad Friedman, aka Spirit Rock, has been laying down plenty of speeches and beats this week, up over $40K.
Antonio Esfandiari has finally found the magic spell for the big game. Raise. He's up over $40K.
Vanessa Selbst is a full-time law student who has beyond a reasonable doubt proven her skill in the tournament scene. Powerful opening argument here, up 66.5.
Poker legend Barry Greenstein is still trying to shake off an early bluff that cost him nearly half his stack. He's down almost $50K.
Nick Cassavetes has written and directed a few Hollywood hits, but his box office has been less than boffo here, stuck several residual checks.
And the loose cannon is 29-year-old Jared Huggins. With the help of the poker community, Jared recently overcame being homeless and now says he'll pay it forward by sharing any profits with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So far, he's $28K in the hole, and he's with Amanda.
Jared, less than 2 years ago, you were living out of your car, so I know that you know what real pressure is. Does this feel like pressure?
I wouldn't really call this pressure. I think it's a really good experience so far. We're like about 60 hands in. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. And hopefully I'm gonna win a big hand really soon.
Okay, so what is the number? What is the panic number where you have to get those chips in?
Panic number, there's not really one.
Okay.
Time to win a big pot will be right now.
All right, well, I'm pulling for you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Here are the rules for the loose cannon. Each cannon is staked $100,000. He keeps all profit above the initial $100K. And at season's end, the loose cannon who's won the most money earns an NAPT passport valued at $50,000.
Jared's got his work cut out for him to book a year on the North American Poker Tour. He trails leader Gonzalez Cannon, who stunned the pros and took them for over $155K in profit. But Jared's still got time, and this table has seen crazier comebacks.
Gonzalez Cannon. Action begins with hand 62.
It's a new day.
Barry Greenstein. Deuce 4 suited. Folds. Pocket queens for Vanessa Selbst.
Vanessa's been super aggressive all week and hasn't had a lot of showdown. She could get some action.
Pumps it up to 1,300. Antonio's out.
Doesn't want to play with his mouth full.
Prahlad Friedman, ace-9 offsuit.
Yeah. Tough to fold an ace in position to an aggro player like Selbst, even a really bad one like ace-9.
And Prahlad calls on the button. Over to the loose cannon. Ace-9 suited.
This could be a spot for a re-raise. Certainly not a call out of position, though probably best just to muck it.
And he does.
With less than 90 hands left, Jared will have to make a stand eventually.
Where is that?
Film director Nick Cassavetes with 5 deuce. Lets it go.
Contest, I take it,
Vanessa's a huge favorite, especially with Jared folding that other ace.
And we'll go heads up to the flop. 5-8-8, 2 hearts. Selbst queen's way good now.
Prahlad's got the only heart. Vanessa should be pretty confident in that flop.
Checks it.
That's a little bizarre since she was the pre-flop aggressor and so aggressive in general. She's likely trying to disguise her hand. You know, like putting a funny little fake mustache on it.
And Prahlad bets 2,000. And Vanessa quickly calls.
And it's working. Vanessa's gotten Prahlad to try to take a stab at this pot.
Turn 10 of spades.
Pretty unlikely that card hurt her.
She checks.
Vanessa's checking twice in a row might look suspicious.
And Freedman checks to the river. Deuce of spades.
Vanessa has to think she has the best hand. She should probably bet.
She Checks again, and Prahlad checks it down.
Vanessa must have thought it would be more likely that Prahlad would bet than he'd call.
Value bet?
I wouldn't have called.
What?
I said I wouldn't have called.
No, I was hoping you value bet something.
Oh, yeah, no.
Might have been a raise coming.
You might have if he had something.
I know.
No speech. That was a clue. I had nothing.
Oh, yeah. Now you know
I was like, I should talk here. I said, what am I doing?
So Prahlad tiptoes through Vanessa's trap as we take a look at the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. And every player begins with at least 100,000, but can rebuy for up to 500K.
And one major change from last year, this season a winning loose cannon does not have the option to return and make another grab for cash.
Action will start on Vanessa.
Occasionally.
Yes, occasionally we'll start on you.
Deuce stray.
Once every 6 hands.
She folds. Esfandiari with big slicks suited.
Well, now you know if I bet
Pumps it to 1100.
Antonio does raise quite a bit, but he raised some early position. Prahlad may get into some trouble here if he gets cute. And let's face it, he's adorable.
Prahlad with 10-7 suited and re-raises to 4100. The cannon, ace-9 of clubs again.
Jared's in position now with a suited ace, but ace-9 is such a trouble hand. He should know to ditch it to a 3-bet, especially knowing he's not closing the action.
And he does. Action on Nick.
As a director, I appreciate the way Cassavetes frames his hole card shots. You can tell he's heavily influenced by Kubrick.
Action back on Antonio.
Antonio's been opening a lot of pots, but this is only the second time he's been 3-bet. He's out of position, so we could very well see a 4th bet with ace-king suited.
And we do. We have 4 bets. It's been raised to 13,000.
Let's see if Prahlad's a believer.
First time I re-raised you.
Prahlad lets it go, and Antonio will take it down.
Good for the game.
Got a 4-bet the first 3-bet. Can't let him just 3-bet you like that.
That's why last time I stopped myself, because I knew it was that 4-bet time that was coming.
Antonio's been raising a lot. Hard to believe he's always got it.
Can't raise every hand and never get 3-bet. I'm pretty sure you've raised close to every hand.
That's not true.
Stapes? What do we got?
All right, well, it's not quite every hand, but the Magician is definitely leading in PFR, opening nearly a third of the pots with a raise, and his aggressive style is working, as you can see by the 3-bet percentage. The 3 players to his left have the lowest 3-bet percentage at the table. Through 63 hands, Antonio's opened 17 pots with a raise, and he's only been 3-bet twice. He just took down one of those pots with a 4-bet. So far, the Magician has been using position, kind of like how David Blaine fakes that levitation thing. All position.
You know I would never re-raise you with nothing, right, Prahlad?
I don't think.
You know that, right?
I don't think ever.
As long as you know that, we're good.
Exactly. I can just fold ace-queen suited.
You didn't have ace-queen.
Esfandiari with ducks.
Just know you have the ace.
Raises. Look at this, ace-queen for Prahlad.
It's not suited, but it's still ironic.
Tilt. Tilt 3-bet.
Re-raises to 4100.
I'm sure Prahlad won't mind the action if people think he's tilting.
Cannon down. Cassavetes, King Jake. Out. And Greenstein out. Selbst will fold. Back on Esfandiari.
If Antonio calls this raise, he'll basically be set mining.
Makes the call.
You would have been the best.
I was wondering when that would happen.
4-bet again.
5-9 ace rainbow. Prahlad with top pair.
This should come as no shock to Antonio, but 3 overs just hit.
And he's checked it.
Even though Antonio checked, probably not liking that ace, Prahlad should bet to try to get action from a smaller ace.
And he bets 6,000.
Tough to believe a guy always has it, but unfortunately he doesn't need to have it to be beating Antonio. Uh-oh.
Antonio going for chips. And folds.
Oh, please.
Pump fake.
Please my ass. Nice answer.
Shows the queen.
Is that the good one or the bad one?
I don't know.
No speech always means nothing.
Okay, right answer is that question.
Prahlad like a true politician giving a completely meaningless speech. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Grab the chips.
your queen jack.
The mind games are underway. The Magician versus Spirit Rock. Loser has to get a real nickname like Tex or Shooter. Back after this with more from Las Vegas. Don't go anywhere.
Table draw, I think I got a pretty good seat. I think Vanessa plays real fast, and it's really nice to be on her left. It gives me a lot of maneuvering to be able to do. I didn't like Prahlad on my left as well, but he really isn't going out of his way to pick on me, which is nice. And then Barry's on Vanessa's right, which I also like a lot too. So I like the table.
The only thing bolder than Antonio's pinstripes has been his play. Through 64 hands, he's up almost 42K.
I think he's just getting more suited cards than we are, honestly.
I don't doubt that he's getting more suited cards than
Because I think that's a big part of it. Who gets more suited cards?
Oh man, the stats department's out today at a team building seminar.
Jack 5 suited for Freedman, mucks it. The cannon folds. Cassavetes out. Barry Greenstein with ace queen. Bumps it to 1500. Selbst is out. Antonio also with ace queen.
Do not adjust your sets. They have different cards. I know. I had to double check too. Now that would have been something.
3 bets to 4400.
Esfandiari can't give a ton of credit to Barry raising an unopened pot on the button. Since Antonio's out of position, he wants to have the betting lead. Barry knows all this too, and Antonio just got done telling us how much he likes having Barry on his right.
Barry 4 bets to 14K.
What do you have there, Barry? About 25 or 30?
Looks like we could see it all get in here. Hooray! There's less than 1% chance they'll do anything but chop. Let's go. Get it in. Next hand.
Probably would have, yeah. If I could beat a 5.
Do you have any 5s?
No.
Go fish.
ace 5.
Yeah, I would have bet. Why not?
Okay.
Kind of like you had ace king.
Deal.
Barry's all in. Antonio calls, and as Joe mentioned, we're cruising for a chop.
You got anything?
Yeah, I have something, but I don't love it that much.
Just chopping? No flop?
I have that. Want to chop?
Antonio.
You got ace of spades, queen of clubs. We can chop it.
Chop it up. How about this? I never have to show you my cards, but I'll give you a $10,000 free roll if I don't have ace of spades, queen of clubs. Fair enough?
Wait, so you chop it now?
I'll give you a $100,000 free roll. If I don't have ace of spades, queen of clubs, but I never show you my hands, then we just chop it. I give you my word.
But have you shown the camera? Have you shown the
Yeah,
camera?
I'll show the camera. If I don't have ace of spades, queen of clubs, I give you 100,000.
Okay, good. Turn it over.
Wait, what? I don't
If
understand.
I don't have ace of spades, queen of clubs, I owe him $100,000. It's on camera.
Good enough for me.
Let's go. Just make sure again. Yeah. Yeah, all right.
It's obvious what he had.
Well, 100,000, you would never ever do that.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you had said like 30,000, then there's some question. Keep it interesting.
Scott, I'll give you a $100,000 free roll if I didn't just say $100,000 free roll.
Book it.
Ace queen, huh? You just ship 50K. Whee!
Pretty good.
What's that?
Nothing.
Is that a good hand?
Criticizing your ace queen play.
Whee! I hope I had ace queen. I hope so.
Why would you do that? Why would you not show it?
Just, you know,
You wanted to test his character.
To be weird.
not really gonna give him the 100,000, obviously.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cassavetes folds. 6-4 suited for Barry. Raises to 1500. Selbst out, as is Antonio. Prahlad, ace, 7 suited.
Suited ace, but he is out of position.
Man, in the old days, they'd fold 2 jacks to Antonio's re-raises. Now they just can't wait to ship 50,000 with ace queen off. Whee! You know?
I think the old Antonio's a lot looser than the new one.
The old Antonio's looser or the new one?
The old Antonio was a
The old everyone's
crazy
looser
man.
if you're any good at poker.
Prahlad's called, and we're heads up to the flop. Jack 5 Jack. Barry flops a flush draw. Friedman checks.
Because in
I
2005,
think the
everybody
game's
folded
changed.
every hand. Everybody folded.
People have become a lot looser.
Barry
with
bets.
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the good players, if you're a good player, you've probably tightened up a little bit. If you used to be crazy.
Barry wins it.
He used to be totally
I'm definitely tighter than I used to be.
crazy.
I'm definitely looser than I used to be.
No.
What?
Are you talking tournaments or cash games?
Tournaments.
Tournaments
Cash games.
or cash games, whatever. Either way.
Tournaments, I'm looser or tighter?
Tighter.
you're tighter than you were the first couple of years.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I was talking about
I was
tournaments
a
also.
maniac in
Yeah,
tournaments.
so was that. That's what I'm
I used to
talking about.
love like 5-betting the 10-8 suited.
Yeah, I was a maniac, but they just folded ace queen, no
Everything,
problem,
everything.
you know.
Ace queen. They would fold ace king sometimes.
Yeah, it was more right to be a maniac. So I'm not saying you did anything wrong.
King 9 of spades for Selbst. Raises to 1300. Antonio, out. Queen 10 for Prahlad.
Should be an easy call on the button.
Gamble, gamble. Keep that VPIP up. It's important.
VPIP.
Calls.
Speaking of VPIP, we got halftime coming up in a bit for all you stats junkies.
Actions folded to Cassavetes with Jack Trey. Folds it.
That's what we call a tease.
Two of the greatest poker minds.
VPIP is suffering right now.
Antonio, what's the design on that watch? I can't see from here. Is that like a Christmas tree or something like that?
A Christmas tree?
Check that out this time.
It's the king of hearts.
Vanessa.
Oh, wow.
Flop 496.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You want to swap?
Oh, no, let's go. Okay. Wow, this is nice.
It's a little blingy.
Yeah, this is cool.
It's the same guy that makes the bracelets for the World Series.
Selbst leads out 2100.
Top pair should be good.
And it is.
I made the nuts.
You see these all the time, though. That's the problem.
Did you get that after like a big winning session or a big tournament score?
No.
Found it in a box of Cracker Jacks.
I just want to bling out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, nice.
Barry, how much would you have to be paid to wear that for 5 years?
It's not going to happen.
For $1 billion, you do it. Obviously.
I understand, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the number.
I didn't say it wasn't a number. I'm just saying it's not going to happen.
I'd love to see Barry wear this for a year.
Antonio should know that Barry's always right, even if you ask him a hypothetical question.
Coming back to Vegas with more big game right after this. Welcome back to the big game from Las Vegas. We'll continue with hand 71 of 150.
Like when I set the record for that Nash thing, my buddy was hitting me perfect every time.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
A lot of that record is the passer.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
rebounding and the passing.
Prahlad broke Steve Nash's free throw record by making 23 in a minute, and I was there. Ace-10 for the cannon.
You saw it?
Saw it live.
And then when the time was running out, he knew to pass it up here because I had like, half a second, so I just catch and shoot.
Right.
He was good.
Yeah.
I think I could really get a higher record if I had like a 7-footer, rebounding. Bring it right out of the net, whip it to me.
Huggins is raised. Cassavetes in. Action on Antonio.
Jared, you raised it? Jared. Oh, Jared, I'm coming for you, brother.
Antonio calls.
He doesn't look amused.
I feel a check raise in your future, Jared. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it.
3 players to the flop. 7-5-5.
We can play the watches if you want.
Antonio has the best hand. And what is so funny, Nick?
How are you gonna check raise him?
I can't check raise him. I just want to lead out. Maybe he missed.
Good call, Garth.
He did, and Huggins folds.
Pretty good flop for Nick. He's got a flush draw.
Next hand.
God, call him with the king high.
No,
Just
no,
call him
no, I
down
don't
with
have
the
a king high.
high.
Next hand.
Jack, calm down with the jack high.
Is he allowed to take it back?
I can do whatever I want.
Okay, whatever you want.
I can do whatever I want.
Don't tease me.
Who am I?
Don't tease me.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want.
You wrote blow. You can do whatever you want.
Not only did I write it,
I thought the hand was over.
your hand's over.
All right, I wouldn't have said that, obviously.
Hands over. He's all in.
Tight lay down.
And Antonio scoops it.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Night hand, sir.
You got on Entourage, right? You were on Entourage, right?
I was at a poker table when the camera went by me.
For a second.
We were actually playing cards on the set. It was fun.
How'd you get that going?
Cassavetes. Cassavetes is my Hollywood man. He's my Hollywood connect.
Director Nick Cassavetes may have all the connections, but it might surprise you that beneath his bad boy appearance lies a softer side.
Hello, I'm Nick Cassavetes, and I'm on the big game. I call myself a filmmaker because I've been lucky enough to make a few films. I've directed a couple of movies. Most people know me from The Notebook.
You just wouldn't take him as a director of these big hip chick flicks. He's got tattoos everywhere, and he's just really like hip and cool and whatever.
But I'm also proud of other films like Alpha Dog.
And the guy that wrote Blow, I was pretty starstruck because those are two of my absolute favorite movies.
I have a great gambling movie. I got a great gambling movie. I hope to make it someday. There's a lot of bad acting in poker, and sometimes it's you're able to pick up on that, sometimes not.
You know, a lot of people think he's this director guy that can't play. Well, that's actually not true. He understands the game, he plays position well, and he's not afraid to put in money when he thinks he's ahead.
The strength of my game is, and I mean this in all seriousness, is I'm really lucky. I'm super lucky. Let's be clear. I'm an amateur player. I'm, probably the worst player at the table. That being said and done, guard your chips. I'm coming after him.
Guard your chips, I'm coming after him. I hope that line's not in the gambling movie. Just kidding, Mr. Cassavetes. Can we cut that out? I'm really not comfortable saying that. The guy's got 2 movies in development, and he's terrifying. Just look at him. Cut this too, please.
Right now, the director wants a rewrite to his big game script. He's down nearly 75 large. Antonio?
Yeah, if you're not doing, it depends.
Folds.
If you're not doing a lot of cooking.
You guys are gonna cut that, right?
They'll cut it. Trey deuce. Folds.
You know, hemp milk has
6-4 for the cannon.
And coconut milk.
Jared appears very pensive over the 6-4 suited. Maybe he'll start opening things up a bit.
The soy, I don't really eat soy anymore for quite some time.
Nope, just calls.
All right.
King 8 suited for Cassavetes. And he has the button.
Guard your chips, everyone. Just kidding, Nick.
Raises it up to 1,700. Barry with ace jack. Calls. Selbst, 5 tray.
Tempting.
Suited, but folds.
There.
And now Huggins is out.
Good news is one of us is going to win.
I don't know. We had a tie last time.
Yeah, maybe, right.
Pretty tough to tie this time.
Flop, 5 queen jack rainbow. Greenstein with middle pair and checks it.
Nick missed, but he had the pre-flop lead.
Looks like he's going to try to keep it.
25.
Makes it 2,500.
Well, Barry ain't folding.
Nope.
You keep doing that to me, sir.
Barry's raised to 6,500.
Not sure why Barry's doing this. It's a tough spot to get called by worse. Barry may think Nick's frustration may make him call with draws and worse jacks.
All right, I fold.
Cassavetes folds. Greenstein's going to win a pot worth almost 14,000.
That was just 5 change. You put up 3.
You want this too?
Not this hand.
Adding up to your
I
steal.
want it in a future hand. Actually, I want to beat the left. I want to beat the left side.
Of his face?
The big game beatdown continues for Nick Cassavetes. Find out if his tale has a Hollywood ending when we come back. Welcome back. Here's where we are after 76 hands. Vanessa Selbst and Prahlad Friedman got up early and have stayed there. Antonio Esfandiari has taken down the most pots and is up as well.
Nick Cassavetes and Barry Greenstein haven't recovered from early hits, and the loose cannon ship continues to take on water.
Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Scott Huff, and now that we've seen roughly half the hands this week, it's time to check in on the stats and get an idea of how everyone's playing.
Well, Scott, let's kick it off with a round of VPIPs for everyone. Esfandiari is mixing it up the most, in contention for pots 40% of the time. Cassavetes and Freedman have been almost as active at 36%. Trailing the pack is our loose cannon at just 21%. Huggins has been just a little too nervous to ask anyone to the dance. And why shouldn't he be? Like the girls at my high school, they're all very aggressive and very intimidating.
Well, to be fair, these are the highest stakes Jared has ever played. How can he get over that fear?
Jared needs to start playing it cool and just loosen up a bit. He's yet to 3-bet anyone at the table. He's only raising 8% of the time, and he's folded every dang time he's been re-raised before the flop. And that's the good news. After the flop, Jared is folding his C-bets 80% of the time. Jared's peddling the nuts, which means he's folding anything but. Doesn't work against these guys. It's hard to make the nuts.
Well, so far we've played 76 hands. The cannon has won 2 of them. How can he turn it around?
He has to step up the aggression level and take advantage of his tight image. There is still time. Looking at the aggro factor, we see Jared is second from the bottom, just ahead of Nick Cassavetes. Yikes, Nick. Both are in stark contrast to Antonio's aggro factor of 19, which is one of the highest we've ever seen.
Well, Antonio is playing incredibly tough poker so far, and not just post-flop.
Well, you look at the numbers, and the Magician has really earned the title of table captain. pre-flop, his 32% PFR is nearly double the next player, and he also leads in 3-betting at 12.5%, allowing him to take it down pre-flop 17% of the time. He's also sought a woman in half more times than anyone else at the table.
Well, despite Antonio's antics, Vanessa seems somewhat unaffected by his aggression.
I've seen pit bulls back down more than Vanessa. She's active and she's atop the profit leaderboard. Vanessa's up 72K, but check it out. She's won 171K without showdown. That's a lot of moolah without having to show the goods. She's putting her opponents to tough decisions, and it's working.
Well, you think someone's eventually going to look her up?
It's only a matter of time before forces collide.
All right, everyone, back to your seats. Second half underway, and action is on Nick Cassavetes with 6-8 offsuit. Lets it go.
Could have been the old. Do you think I could represent?
Barry means that in a hip-hop sense. Represent.
Vanessa with queen 9 offsuit.
This is well within Vanessa's unopened cutoff raising range.
And she does raise it to 1,300. 9-6 of hearts for Antonio.
Poker's kind of cool in that way. You could tell someone that your entire thinking and then go ahead and raise and bluff, and it's still hard for them to call.
Jamie Gold started that.
Yeah, it worked for him for 5 days.
Yeah.
Or 9 days.
I don't think it worked after that. Once they saw that.
Antonio calls.
If he could just flip the script sometimes and go up, you know, then it might work for him.
He can't do it. It's amazing.
Jack tray for Freedman.
Prahlad must be a little distracted by this conversation if he's thinking of playing this hand.
And he folds. And Huggins is out.
I think if it was no limit pre-flop, I might just put in some big re-raises. This pot limit holds me back a little bit.
Yeah, that's the point.
Heads up to the flop, 6-10, 4-2 diamonds. Antonio with middle pair.
Middle pair and the best hand. Vanessa with the lead.
Bets 2,300.
Antonio probably can't fold a pair to just one bet.
Makes the call.
Vanessa also could have been semi-bluffing some backdoor draws.
Turn. 3 of diamonds. Selbst picks up flush outs.
Vanessa just picked up a lot more outs, though a 9-high flush draw isn't so hot.
She checks it.
Vanessa may be giving up with that check. Antonio can't be in love with the diamond.
Bets out 5,200.
Antonio's looking to protect. There aren't a lot of good cards that can hit for him. Looks like I may have prematurely called for self-surrender. Perhaps she has sensed that Antonio is weak and can maybe blow him off his hand. Here come the 5K chips.
It appears that Vanessa left her white flag backstage, Joe. She is raised to 21,400.
This is a pretty insane bluff with only queen high, but if you look at Antonio's hand, this could work. Betting the flop and then check raising the turn with air is affectionately known sometimes as the stack-a-donk play. It's actually a little outdated, but it looks very strong. Antonio's probably wondering to himself how often Vanessa would do this with an actual hand, though.
Antonio does not believe he makes the call.
A tough call, but a good one. Gulp.
The river. Deuce of spades.
Now that might look like a brick, but Vanessa could have been semi-bluffing a 5 on the turn just as easily as she semi-bluffed her diamonds. She's met adequate resistance from Antonio the whole way, so I'm fairly certain she knows she can't win this pot by checking. So the question is surrender or fire one last bullet. She's loading up.
And Vanessa fires 59,700 on a stone bluff.
There it is, the overbet. We've been here before. This bet is supposed to polarize Vanessa's hand, nuts or air, and Antonio can pretty much only beat air. This would be an absolutely sick call. Vanessa could very easily have played a huge hand the same way.
59-7.
59-7.
By overbetting, she's given him really tough odds to make the call, not even getting 2-1. Is a pair of sixes going to win enough to justify those odds? Not likely.
Antonio with 119,000 behind.
He's probably still thinking about that check raise on the turn. If she had a big hand, would she really have given him the chance to check behind? finally, and people discount this more than they should, Vanessa has the stupidity factor in her favor. If Antonio calls and he's wrong, he feels stupid.
I think Antonio turned it straight with like a 5-7 suited.
Yeah.
And
What is she?
And then I think she has a flush. I think she has it.
Worst read ever.
Well, that's what Prahlad the Couch Cannon thinks, but it's Antonio's read that counts here. And Antonio fold. What is going on? Antonio folds.
Little bit dirty on the pump fake by Antonio, but Vanessa, wow, what a sick bluff.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
I wanted the board to pair on the river.
Antonio saying he would have tried to rep a boat.
Vanessa drags a pot worth over 110,000.
Wanted the board to pair, so it came straight and flusher's already there.
No, so I could rep a full house. You know?
Stick it in there.
Just ship it. How can you go?
It took Vanessa 3 barrels, but Antonio Esfandiari, you just got bluffed, sir. See if Vanessa continues to push the table around after this. Welcome back to the big game from Las Vegas, Nevada. Scott Huff alongside Joe Stapleton from our state-of-the-art poker room. And don't forget to log on to the website to check out exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, bonus hands and stats, as well as clips we've deemed too hot for TV. Well, we just saw Vanessa Selbst extend her table-leading profit to 97 dimes by firing a courageous 3-barrel bluff into Antonio Esfandiari. The magician appeared to be contemplating a call before ultimately giving the hand up. Both players took us through the action in this edition of Behind the Poker Face.
Hand 79, Vanessa opened for 1300. I was on the button, and on this particular hand, I have 6-9 suited. I had position and decided just to call it.
And I know that he can call me with a really wide range of hands. Queen 9 offsuit on the cutoff. You know, a lot of players would fold that, but I've been folding so much that I think it's an easy open for me.
The flop came out 10-6-4 with 2 diamonds. She led for 2300. I think she's leading there with all sorts of hands, just at the chance that I missed, and she's taking a stab at the pot.
For this board texture, normally with all of my value hands and also my bluffs, I'm going to be betting about 3/4 of the pot.
I have a pair of 6s, and so of course I call in position. I don't want to raise here and get re-raised and, you know, not know what to do.
At this point, I think that he could still have a very, very wide range of hands.
The turn came out of 3 of diamonds, which is not exactly the best card for me. She checked, and I regret betting, but I thought perhaps my 6 was the best hand. I didn't want to let her have a free card at a diamond or whatnot.
When I check and he bets 5,200, the thing is that Antonio really likes to bet after you check to him on the turn. I also know that he knows that I can play pretty tricky, so I think that he thinks that I'm less likely to make a really big bluff.
I was prepared to fold if I got check raised, and that's exactly what happened. She check raised me to 21,400, at which point I decided when I bet that I was probably going to fold if I got check raised, and for some reason I got a little stubborn and I wanted to take one off here and see perhaps if she really had it or if she was bluffing, and so I called.
And I know when he calls me that he now has a real hand, but I think that he could call me and just hope that I shut down on the river.
If the board paired or maybe another diamond came off, I was going to try and rep those hands as well. The river came at 2 spades, and she let out for 59-7.
When I bet really big, I just thought that he would think that I wasn't likely to pull a big bluff like that on him.
I wasn't too happy about my hand. I only had a pair of 6s, but she either had a flush or she didn't have a flush.
I give him a lot of reasons to think that I might play a flush in this fashion.
She made a pretty decent-sized bet, and I didn't want to call it and be wrong. And so after some deliberation, I just decided that she had it.
And he folded, and that was it.
If she bluffed me, great job.
Vanessa said Antonio knows she can play tricky. Doesn't she know when you're talking to a magician, the word is illusion-y?
Let's do a round of straddles, boys and girls. Anybody in? I'm in.
Did you just lose a pot?
Yeah. I lost the pot. I'm ready to gamble.
Gamble up. The straddle is on. Let's get some straddle lighting in there. Boom.
Straddle 800.
So the action will start on Prahlad Friedman's Spirit Rock, since Antonio's in the straddle, with 10-9.
This would be pretty loose under the gun.
There we go.
Spirit rock.
Immediately. First option after.
Freedman makes it 3,000. Huggins out, as is Cassavetes.
First of all, you have to call him by his name on PokerStars.net.
Prefontaine, is that right?
Prefontaine.
Yeah.
Is it Prefontaine? You can't look like him.
Prahlad wins it.
Prefontaine was an amazing dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost as amazing as Spirit.
Can we get a stat check on Antonio's PCC, his patronizing comment count? Oh, the meter's broken? Story checks out.
So the action will start on Prahlad.
No straddle for the Spirit. Boo.
Ace tray of spades makes it 1,200. Ace tray of diamonds for the cannon. Calls. Cassavetes pitches it. Jack 10 suited for Greenstein, and he's in. And Jack 10 for Vanessa.
A lot of shared cards here.
Antonio's out.
50% wrappers
Jared also claims to be a rapper.
in the house.
Jack deuce 4 on the flop, 2 diamonds.
Huge flop for Jared, flush draw and a gut shot. Both Barry and Vanessa flopped the best hand, however.
Vanessa checks.
Vanessa's also holding one of Jared's diamonds. Prahlad was the pre-flop aggressor, and he's got a gut shot.
Keeps the lead with a $4,200 bet.
Jared absolutely cannot fold. A raise would be fine. You can win the pot without needing to hit another diamond, but his stack is dwindling. He's 46% to win this 4 ways. It's a great spot to get some money in. And lest ye forget, he's got a sick reputation right now.
Looks like he might go for the raise, and does. Makes it 16,000.
Barry folds top pair with the quickness. Vanessa's a little more stubborn.
But folds.
You're a beast.
Prahlad folds, and Jared will win the pot.
Flush draw.
Nice hand, Jared.
Thanks.
Long time no eat. Nice hand.
So Barry and Vanessa easily lay down top pair to the loose cannon as Jared cuts his deficit to 26,000.
Have to say that last hand was pretty well played by Jared. Next time, hopefully he has it, and hopefully for him, he gets looked up.
Action on Huggins. Ace 5 suited this time.
This would be an okay hand to raise with under the gun. Jared maybe playing the rush a little bit.
Playing the rush. I said playing the rush.
One hand, he's thinking about playing another. That's a rush.
Playing the this rush?
You never had a limp pot today? Not
That's
one?
not true, blinds.
Besides the blinds? Not one person is
It
limped in.
almost feels like it's not allowed.
After all that, looks like Jared chickened out.
Well, Jared's limp. That's not true. We had a limp pot. Barry won with 7-9 offsuit.
Speaking of,
Get it going.
7-9 offsuit for Selbst.
This is getting glitchy.
Hey, there we go.
Limps to Prahlad. With Jacks.
Ah, pot it up. Come on, we gotta stick to the rules. How much?
18 more.
Now that I have jacks, let's stick to the rules, right, guys?
Prahlad wins it.
It cost me $400.
Easy money.
You got a jack?
You had the jack.
I had it.
Had it.
Jack was good, right?
It was good last hand.
Beat me.
Yeah, you think?
No limp for you. There will be no limping tonight on the big game, and if Jared's going to make a profit, he'll have to keep firing. Back with more big game right after this.
Fire, Jared, fire!
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com big game from Las Vegas.
All right, I'm buying in more chips. I'm sick of it.
Attaboy, Antonio's in for 300 now, still up a little over 20.
Now I'll definitely want a straddle.
Esfandiari with his new chips.
Oh, no straddle.
Folds. Freedman.
Rebuy, no straddle.
Deuce 5. Lets it go.
Let's do a round of straddles, guys.
I'm game.
Come on, you nitballs.
Huggins calls with Jack 9.
Jared's limping an unopened pot in the cutoff with Jack 9. That is amazingly bad.
Queen Jack for Cassavetes. Raises to 1,800. Barry's calling with 2 3s. Vanessa, Queen 10.
It's even now?
I'm still up a little. Just giving off the
Up and
steaming.
steaming. Up and steaming.
Up and steaming. I am up and steaming.
Vanessa's out.
And that was the sound of Jared burning $400.
Jared's out. Heads up to the flop. 3, 5, 9, 2 hearts. Oh boy, Barry with the set and Nick with a flush draw. Barry checks, and Cassavetes checks.
Nick somehow doesn't semi bluff 2 overs and a flush draw.
4 diamonds on the turn, quickly checks around, and a 7 of spades on the river. Greenstein bets 3K.
I play so bad. I'm the worst.
No, you play that hand amazingly good.
So once again, Barry doesn't get paid off with a premium hand. He'll add $3,200 to his stack. Meanwhile, Antonio Esfandiari pulls a few orange bombers from his pocket and puts a couple more bullets in the chamber.
You're targeting me again, huh, Antonio? You knew I was going to double up twice and have some chips, and you
Honestly, I
wanted
want
to be prepared
Vanessa.
for it.
I really do. We have history.
You beat me every time.
No, it's not true.
Except for when she bluffed you on that one hand.
Yeah, that hurt.
Burn.
I'm tired of getting check raised by you.
Stop betting.
Yeah, that's easy.
It's not the check raise from Vanessa Antonio should be worried about, though it was pretty awesome. As we take a look at the check raise percentage for the table, we see Vanessa is second, employing the strategy 14% of the time. One player to her right, Barry, has been the most prolific check raiser at 33% through 88 hands. The other 4 players at the table have yet to use this play. Maybe they don't know the check raise is allowed. I don't see the sign here.
Yeah, there it is. It's right next to the sign that says no pepper.
Nah.
Prahlad Friedman, king 6 offsuit. Folds. The loose cannon, ace queen.
Jared, you gonna start gambling?
There's your answer.
There's your answer.
Okay. Raises to 1,200.
Jared, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. Maybe I have some. I have the Vanessa special.
9-3?
Nope, 8-3. That's a fold, right?
All in with that one.
You have that one beat?
I think so.
That's only the 4th pot Jared's dragged all week, and a tiny one at that. At this point, Jared's rep is so tight, it might be hurting him a bit. If he's going to turn a profit, he's going to have to find some action.
Please don't let me double you up. That would hurt.
You might.
Pocket 8s for Huggins.
Raising 2 hands in a row.
Does raise to 1,200. Cassavetes and Greenstein quickly out. Jack 3 for Selbst. Folds. King 9 for Antonio.
Not a great hand out of position.
And folds.
Gears.
Call.
King 9 for Prahlad. Same hand as Antonio.
Prahlad's also out of position, but he does already have money in the pot.
Get him, Spirit.
Yeah.
Not this time.
2 in a row.
Make it 5 hands.
I like how you guys are so analytical.
2 for 2.
Yeah?
Don't give him any information.
It's too late. I have all my emotions on my face.
So the loose cannon rattles off back-to-back wins to end the night on an uptick. Jared's still got a long way to go to show a profit and only 60 hands left to make his move.
Vanessa Selbst bluffed the rabbit out of Antonio's hat, adding to her table-leading ledger, and ends the night up $93,600, while Nick Cassavetes puts an $83,000 dent in his notebook residuals.
Jared.
Yeah.
You have a lot of work to do to get back in the black.
I do, but I'm ready to put some work in for real.
I'm ready for it. Vanessa, are you gonna let any of these boys win pots?
I'm letting Antonio steal every hand. I'm done with this.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. Good night, everybody.
Tomorrow night, see if Vanessa Selbst can reach the century mark and see if our loose cannon Jared Huggins can finally get some action. For Stapes, this is Huff. See you tomorrow night.
Why the big rebuy?
You know, I played this pot with Vanessa, and I steamed up a little bit because I played that hand pretty bad. And now I'm looking for a situation to just get it all in. Either bluff her all in on TV or bust her. And so, you know, I think
want to see some all-ins.
I just want to punish her.
The preceding program was sponsored by PokerStars.com.